2.
Good afternoon, and welcome to our kickoff 2018 episode of Real Estate Talk with Lisa. I'm so glad to see you all this year. We all made it over. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I have with me today Marcus and Daniels, who is, guys, I've been talking about him coming to the show for months now, so he's actually here. So
Yes.
now I'm trying not to be a fan and be like, but I really am so delighted to have him here. I'm going to come back and really introduce him in just a moment. I want to acknowledge my team today. So I want to thank Reba Burris Barnes with Reba Associates International, who make sure that we get our our business coach extraordinaire who checked us to that we're on track for this year. He's been a great coach and a great supporter of the show. I also want to just give an acknowledgement and thank you for our past guests. Let me see here. Ben Clemens, Ed Jeffries, Brett Carter, Comfort Oladupe. Let's see here. Linda Tyler, Robin McKinney. Let's see, have I left anybody out? Reginald Dirksen with Old Line Bank. Stephen Underwood, Melanie Gamble, Brian Washington. All of these individuals, and Jackie Ward, who phoned in to us as well, working with Robin McKinney. All of these individuals made great contributions last year, bringing you good information, bringing you good financing programs, bringing you ideas about how to save money. This year we're going to be focused on commercial real estate, still our home buyers, sellers, things that help you sell your house, tips for that, commercial real estate, what's going on in Prince George's County, what's going on in other areas within the DMV. So I just want to thank all of those that have contributed, all of you that have followed. If you're not following the show's page, it's Real Estate Talk with Lisa. Please go and like and follow the page. That's the way you'll be the first ones to know when something is coming on. You can always email me at Lisa Jeffery, Jeffery 38 at Gmail. I do respond to all of my emails. You can also reach me by phone, 301 542 5168. And as Linda Tyler mentioned in our last show, I am currently conducting free consultations if you're interested in selling or buying your home, to reach out to me so we can talk about what you want to see for 2018 and talk about what direction you'd like to go in. And that's no cost to you. Just give me a call. We can set up a meeting, phone or physical, whichever works best with your schedule, and help you set your path so you can reach your goals for this year. Okay? Now, I'm going to be posting on my page a link for Linda Tyler. She's got an event coming up soon. Also, a link for Robin McKinney. She has something going on as well. And also, I'll have a link for Marcus's group, Real Estate Development News, Prince George's County Real Estate Development News. I think your group is like 6,000 now.
Yes, over 6,000.
I'm a member, because that's how I keep up with what's going on. And Marcus is going to share a lot of that information with us. Well, I was just telling him before we came on the air, he's so diligent. It's awesome. It's awesome. The breadth of information that he provides to us. So those links will be on the page by this evening. Now I want to skip to Marcus. I got some notes here, and I'm going to be checking my phone because he is such an accomplished young man, and he's a Morehouse man.
Yes.
Yes, and he has his Bachelor's of Administration in Finance.
Yes.
And I understand you're a Georgetown University master's candidate for real estate finance. Okay, all right. Now, you started out in the Maryland.
General Assembly.
Yes. Okay. And I'm using my phone, folks. But you guys do it too, because my memorization. They say these phones are killing that for us. But I wanted to be accurate with what I was saying. Now, you started as a chief of staff in the General Assembly. Okay. And then you also, and that covered legislative matters for housing, community development and judiciary.
Yes.
And that's something I can see that that's a theme that tends to kind of run through all of your work, right?
Absolutely.
Now I know you're a family guy.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know that family plays a role in who you are.
Absolutely.
How did that shape your early career choices?
Well, Lisa, just want to say thank you again for having me on your show. I really
Yes.
appreciate it. I'm born and raised in Prince George's County. I grew up in Accokeek, Maryland, which is at the southernmost tier of the county. Some people know where it's at. And I've always had, community values instilled in me from my parents, my mother and my father, Joycelyn and Nelson Daniels. If you're watching, hello.
Shout out, yes.
And we are, they instilled in me at an early age that you have to be involved in your community, know what's going on. I can remember from an early age attending church with them, being involved in various ministries and programs that we had in the community, whether that was feeding the homeless, providing Thanksgiving dinners to those in need, doing a lot of outreach activities. And I can remember at a young age, I would drive up and down Indian Head Highway and I would look around at what was available, what businesses were there, what buildings were there. And I asked myself what opportunities would be there for my friends and family members who would be growing up and eventually want to, live, work, and play in Prince George's County. And so it was at that early age I kind of developed a sense of, how can I use my skills and talents that God has given me to give back to the community that I love so much and has given a lot to me. I went to Oxon Hill High School. My uncle was the first African American male to graduate from the high school. And I'm the 10th member in my family to graduate from the school. So seeing all the changes that have occurred in the Fort Washington, Oxon Hill area, and certainly throughout the county has just been unbelievable. And I really feel a sense of commitment to give back to the community, to inform the community about what's going on, how they can be engaged and active in terms of real estate and community development in their neighborhood, and really encouraging people to participate, whether you're attending a community meeting, whether you're working with an organization that is working around affordable housing and community development issues. All of those things help in the process of community participation, whether it relates to a new shopping center, a new office building, and any type of business that is coming to the community. And you want to make sure that these businesses and these organizations have the community's best interests at heart. And so we are very much committed to informing the community. About a year ago, I started Prince George's County Real Estate Development News page on Facebook, and it really has grown to be something that I wouldn't have imagined that we would have over 6,000 followers to this day. I want to say thank you to everyone who's followed the page. I really appreciate you all support. Every day, every morning I wake up, I'm looking at what's going on in the community. I'm looking for news articles, videos, information that we can share with the community, and it's really been a blessing for me, and God has used me to provide that information to the community. So I'm very blessed and very thankful for came into my life. I'm an associate at NAI, the Michael Companies, which is one of the leading commercial real estate brokerage firms here in Prince George's County, and I specialize in office, industrial, retail, and land sales and leasing. And so, whether you're looking to, develop a housing development, whether you're looking to purchase a church, office building, industrial building, or land for future development, I've worked on all types of properties, and really feel from my perspective that community development isn't just the building, but it's the people in the building. And whether it's health and wellness, the financial literacy, work education, workforce development, all of those things make community development. It's not just the building, it's not just the business in there, but it's really a community effort. And so I'm really, really thankful, and I'm glad to be on the show with you, Lisa, and looking forward to a great 2018.
Oh, definitely. And, just two things. To tag along to that, it is a cohesive picture that you want to make with community development. And, we all have those niches of those things in the community that bother us. For some of us, it's the litter. That's your thing. It's like that's your pet peeve. Other times, it's like every time you see a child improperly dressed in the cold weather,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing that gets you. Just like, man, I wish they had, they were properly dressed.
For sure.
So that's your niche. For others, it may be just making sure that everybody, the children, have access to good education. That we know what's coming into our community, and that the grocery stores and the places that come to our community, if we even have a grocery store,
Right.
provide good produce, provide a good value for the citizens there. And the key is that whatever piece of the puzzle that you are passionate about, it doesn't exist in a vacuum.
That's right.
And so it's collectively, for our communities. In the case when we're talking about Prince George's County, where we make those gorgeous Prince Georges by being informed about the needs, communicating, and working together.
Absolutely.
As a group to make those things happen. And I was going to note that the community involvement that he mentioned, it's not just word of mouth.
Right.
You are a board member for Dimensions Healthcare System at the Laurel Regional Hospital.
Yes, which is now University of Maryland, which will be building a beautiful regional medical center, and that was a great opportunity for me to work.
See? United Way, Prince George's County.
Yes.
You're on the board there.
Yes.
And also on the board for Boys and Girls Club of Greater Washington.
Absolutely.
So I like seeing, because this is our first time actually meeting face to face. We've talked. I've seen his pictures, and we've talked several times. But to see a young man and a young person that interested in the community, and that just goes back to also saying that for our young people, he goes back to the values that he was instilled in, and so. Who's to say what his, what the vision was that his parents saw when he was young, but they gave him that foundation to be a change maker for our communities now. And so each of us, for the young people that are in our communities, whatever we can instill in them in terms of hope, in terms of vision, to be change makers in their community, who knows where that foundation can take them so they can help us improve our community.
That's right.
Now, I also want to talk to you. You were a founder and the CEO of the Maryland Community Development Corporation.
Yes. So let me tell you a little bit about Maryland Community Development Corporation. Currently in Prince George's County, there are two community development organizations that work to get federal resources for gap financing of commercial real estate or affordable housing projects.
Okay.
I had worked at the United States Department of the Treasury and the Community Development Financial Institutions Fund, which is a $3 billion program that provides gap financing to communities in need throughout the country.
Okay.
I had through my research and looking at the amount of funds that the state of Maryland received on an annual basis, which is in the tune of about $90 million.
Wow.
We had realized that a lion's share, if not all of those allocations, were going to Baltimore City. And if you look at the statistics and numbers as it relates to health disparities, education rates, crime, poverty rates, things of that nature, Prince George's County has some similar issues as it relates to those challenges. And so we have made an argument that it would make sense for us to start a community development corporation that could bring in those resources and work with nonprofit organizations and community development entities throughout the county to apply for those tax credits. And so ultimately, we are working with the United States Treasury Department to become a certified community development financial institution. With that certification, we'll be able to apply every year for new market tax credits, low-income housing tax credits, as well as financial assistance and technical assistance awards to build and establish an organization. And so, as with everything else in my life, I identify a problem, I see there's a need, and I try to create a solution for it. And I've been actively working with a number of folks in the county, including Donna Hurley with Hope, Ron Hance with NDCDC, as well as Antoine Johnson with the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. And it really is an effort that we want to continue to grow. We want it to be a community involved organization, and we
That's
want
right.
people to tell us what they want in their community and how nonprofit organizations, faith-based groups, in the private sector and the government can work together to make those dreams a reality. So, really excited
Excellent.
about that.
Excellent. And what I'm hearing when you're saying that is that it wasn't just enough to know that the resources were available.
Right.
You then had to go about setting a structure to then be able to maximize
That
those
is right.
resources. You have to set the right structure, so that knowledge
Yes.
is power.
Yes.
And so now knowing what's available, you can say, okay, we need to create something that's going to where we can receive that, and then also have a plan for how we're going to disperse it,
Right.
even before we have it. It's kind of like when you're doing a commercial development, you
Mm-hmm.
have the architect or the artist sketch
Mm-hmm.
there, say coming
That's
soon.
right.
Normally, when you're doing new construction, you have to go and show what the finished product is going to look like, and I
Mm-hmm.
would assume it's the same here.
It's the same exact concept, and what we're looking to do is initially start out with addressing the issue of affordable housing in the communities
Yes.
of the with the greatest need in Prince George's County, particularly around the district line.
Yes.
We know that there are a number of neighborhoods that have severely been affected by gentrification, and the rising property values and rental costs in DC, and then certainly around Prince George's County. And one of the things that I'm very much in tune with is we want to create opportunity for people who grown up here, who live
That's
here, who
right.
worship here,
Right.
who are raising their families here, and certainly don't want to push
Mm-hmm.
anyone out the community. It is a passion of mine to be able to educate folks on what's going on in their community so that they can plan ahead. They can talk to their family members and let them know that, hey, if you're looking at buying, maybe you should buy in Suitland. Maybe you should buy in
Right.
College Park. Maybe you should buy in Hyattsville and other areas throughout the county. And that information is power. And we
That's
want to
right.
continue to empower people through social media, through the news, through video, through neighborhood meetings, because that's what it's going to take for us to make a difference. And that's why we're doing the work that we're doing. It's so critical.
I agree. And I think on one of the other shows we had addressed how a lot of even the grant programs
Mm-hmm.
and the funds that you get, we've done shows on HUD
Mm-hmm.
and how part of their outreach is creating that neighborhood stability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, a lot of the, even with foreclosures, when you're looking at Fannie Mae, or Freddie Mac, they normally have a period of time where they only want offers from owner occupants because what they want to create is community.
That's right.
And they want to create, they know that people that own the home have more concern about the community. They want more input
For
into the
sure.
community, and so that's what they want to create. They want to create that sense of community. That's why they give you that break
Mm-hmm.
to be the first to have a shot at buying that property.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason why we're promoting often on the show home ownership, so
Absolutely.
that you can create that environment and create what you want. You may look at a neighborhood, as Brett says sometimes about the HUD homes, the
Mm-hmm.
shiny penny,
Right.
but
Right.
sometimes it's not the shiny penny. We talk about neighborhood blight, but that's a way. Home ownership is a way to do that, and there are funds available to help you, be a homeowner in those situations.
For sure. And all of the things that are going on in our community and certainly in our country, it's important that people know that there is help out there for them, and that there are professionals and individuals who are working every day to make their dreams a reality. Whether they're looking to buy their first home, whether they're looking to start a business, whether they're
Mm-hmm.
looking to start a nonprofit organization or a house of worship, there are people who are genuinely committed to the community and genuinely committed to making
Mm-hmm.
other people successful. And I think from the type of work that we do, that's that's our whole mission.
That's right.
If we
That's
make
right.
other people successful, then we'll be successful. And
That's
it's
right.
out of God blessing us with the talents and skills that we have that we can help others and empower others. So it is a great day in Prince George's County. I
Yes,
can
it
tell you
is.
that as someone who has grown up in Prince George's County, went away to Morehouse College in Atlanta and moved back in 2012, it is just unbelievable to see the communities in Prince George's County continue to grow and thrive. This
It's
year
true.
alone, property values are up 13%,
It's
and that
excellent.
is the highest property value increase of any jurisdiction in the region. So
Great.
there is a number of encouraging signs. Business
Mm-hmm.
uh, attraction is booming right now. Of course, we've
That's
had
good.
a number of companies who have moved or expanded into Prince George's County.
Mm-hmm.
We
That's right.
look at a number of the signature projects in the county, including National Harbor,
Yes.
and you look at the benefits that National Harbor and the MGM Resort has provided to the community. I mean, a
Mm-hmm.
number of people. I have family members and friends who have been able to secure well-paying jobs at the restaurants and businesses around there,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and really able to
That's right.
support their family. And so, what we want to do though is we want to make sure that these businesses are continuing to be committed to the communities, that they're going
That's
to
right.
do what they
Yes.
say they're going to do,
That's right.
and that
That's
we're going
right.
to hold them to their promises. It's important that we have good leadership in the
That's
county.
right.
I think over the past 8 years, we've had tremendous leadership from our
Mm-hmm.
county government and officials, and that's provided a sense of business confidence as well as consumer confidence that things are on the right track. And so, my belief is that 2018 is going to be a great year for homeowners, for business owners, for
Mm-hmm.
people who are engaged in the community, and there are a number of partnership opportunities with a lot of the new developments that are coming to the county, including the regional medical center, which will be located at Largo, which is really going to transform.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
Yes, it's going to be unbelievable. I'm actively working in the Largo market on with office buildings and
Mm-hmm.
industrial land sites and hotel developments, and it's just unbelievable to see how one project can catalyze additional development
That's
and
right.
interest and
That's
spark
right.
additional investment. And so we want to continue to build our communities. I mean, you look
That's right.
at Suitland.
Yes.
I'm really
Yes.
excited for Suitland. I have a
Yes.
lot of friends and family who either went to Suitland High School or grew up in
Yes.
that community, and for so long they have been neglected in terms of
That's correct.
business attraction,
That's right.
new home development, those crime issues, poverty issues, and now there's been a concentrated effort with the county's Transforming Neighborhoods initiative to address those issues, and you're seeing that there's an investment not only from the county but from the private sector as well to
Mm-hmm.
revitalize those communities. And all of my friends that live in Suitland, I tell them if you have a home in Suitland, keep it.
That's
And if you
right.
are looking at moving, please do buy in
Purchase.
Suitland. Yes,
Yes. That's right.
absolutely.
And I remember sitting at because my previous house of worship
Hmm.
was located in Suitland. My daughter graduated from Suitland High
Oh,
School,
great.
and so um, I often attended the civic association meetings on behalf of the ministry. To hear what the community wanted,
Right,
to find out what was going on in the community,
right.
because even as a house of worship, we wanted to be participants
Hmm.
in what was going on in the community. We didn't want to be just a house of worship that, okay, we're that church down the street. We
Right,
don't really
right,
participate.
right.
Like all our members come on a Sunday, we leave Sunday afternoon.
Right,
You see us maybe on Bible study, choir rehearsal, and that's
right.
it. So that's why I was involved. And there are so many residents, older residents of Suitland that I personally know
Yes,
that have transitioned on,
yes.
but their hope was always that they would see the change
Hmm.
come,
Hmm.
and it was challenging because of wasn't incorporated, and then you had the legislative districts
Hmm.
were split,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
made it hard because you didn't have like one person that
Exactly.
you went to for representation.
Hmm.
There were actually two different
Right.
people, and so trying to get everybody on the same page
Hmm.
was challenging. And I know several people that provided leadership and put time
Hmm.
in trying to get something going for the community. So when I
Absolutely.
saw posted on your page,
Yes.
on the group, the groundbreaking
Yes.
for the mixed use and the development that was coming.
Yes.
I was really really excited.
It
Really
is.
excited.
It is going to be an unbelievable development. I have posted a lot about the Suitland community and everything that's coming. The Redevelopment Authority of Prince George's County and the county executive's office really have taken a stronghold in making Suitland one of the highest priorities in terms of redevelopment in the county.
It's good.
There were a number of efforts done in the past by previous administrations, including the late great county executive Wayne Curry,
Yes.
and,
Yes.
and so many others that have worked to, um, put the community in a position where it could attract private investment. And you realize that, sometimes change can take 10 years, it can take 20 years, it can
Yes.
take 30 years.
It's true.
But it's those who are committed to the cause and continue to work every day to make it
That's
happen.
right.
And
That's right.
and really, I think, that is something that it's so important. It's so important to the community that the work that we do might not necessarily give us instant gratification.
That's right.
Or we might not get the credit for it. But
Mhm.
when it's all said and done, we leave a legacy. We leave our fingerprints all over the community. And so,
That's right.
just for those who aren't familiar with the Suitland Town Square project, it's going to be a over $400 million development, which will include hundreds
That's
of
wonderful.
apartments, townhomes, fresh grocery stores, casual restaurants, as well as some retail stores as well. And so when you think about that, and you think about the infrastructure that exists around Suitland, you have the United States Census Bureau.
That's
you have
right.
metro infrastructure.
That's
you are
right.
2 miles away from Washington D.C.
That's
There are a
right.
number of boxes that are checked off when you look at adequate public facilities. You look at the schools that are in the community.
That's right.
There are rumblings that Suitland will be, next in line, or one of the next schools that will be redeveloped. And
Okay.
you look at, and I'm a little biased 'cause I went to Oxon Hill, but you look at Oxon Hill High School,
Yes.
and
That's
when
it.
I graduated, it was the original Oxon Hill, and now we
Right.
have a beautiful school that is state of the art and
That's
provides
right.
a tremendous environment for our kids to learn. And so
That's right.
I think when you look at education, you look at public safety numbers, where the numbers are
Mhm.
really the crime statistics are getting better. Certainly, we don't want any crime, we don't want any domestic violence or any
That's right.
issues, but the numbers are getting better,
Mhm.
and that is creating an environment where people are looking at Suitland, looking at Prince George's County, and saying, I should invest there. Maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I might have passed it up, but this time I
Right.
can give it a
Now I
serious
can-
look.
I can
Exactly.
see the potential.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes people have to see at least the little sprout coming out the ground before they say, oh, "Okay, something can grow
That's
there."
right. Or they need to see one big player moving to the
That's
community
right.
to attract additional development. So,
Right.
for example,
Yeah.
you look at the National Harbor development, and you had Gaylord Resorts out of Texas build this beautiful resort. You've had the MGM Resorts build this $1 billion facility. Now you
That's
have
right.
companies including Top Golf and other companies that are actively building projects in our community. I would
That's
have
right.
never imagined that we would have, a national harbor or these facilities now. But the reason for that is because there is confidence in the business sector, and there's confidence in the community, where people don't want to leave
That's
Prince
right.
George's County to go shopping. People don't want to when you go to Tanger
That's right.
outlets.
That's
People
right.
don't want to leave Prince George's County when you can to be entertained, when you can go to a concert at the MGM. People
right.
don't want to go to Washington D.C. for a convention when they could go to the hotel at the University of Maryland, or go to various hotels throughout the county. And so
That's
the
right.
thing about it is that in order for us to continue to build wealth and to empower our families, we have to continue to create generational wealth.
That's
How
right.
do we do that?
That
We
is
have
so
to
true.
create opportunities in our own community. We have to invest our money back into
That's
the
right.
small businesses and entities that are working to improve our communities, hiring locally.
That's right.
And that's what it's all about. And so I think, all in all, Suitland is going to be a great place. I'm telling you, if you have a house, keep it. And if you don't, seriously look at Suitland.
That's right.
Housing values are still at a point where you could really get in, get a nice property for a good price. And so,
That's right.
really excited for Suitland.
I am too. I am too. And you're right. When I go down like to the harbor,
Mm-hmm.
and just it's beautiful. It's the restaurants, the dining, the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you're out of town.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
it's
You're
it's
right.
it's it's like a festive atmosphere, and it really is. Even for someone that lives in the county,
Mm-hmm.
it's a nice place to go. Like, hey, what are you doing this afternoon?
That's right.
Let's go down to the harbor.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
let's go down to the area and just let's just find a place to park. And
That's right.
I want to. And there's dining for all types of price
Mm-hmm.
ranges.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not exclusive to any one
That's
group
right.
of people,
Mm-hmm.
any one group of financial income.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea of because you always had the Census Bureau there in Suitland,
That's right.
and you had some businesses,
Mm-hmm.
that thrive. Because many years ago, I worked at the credit union
Okay.
at the Census Bureau.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm so excited about what's going on
Mm-hmm.
in Suitland. Being familiar with the area. But now, what is outside of the
Gates.
Census Bureau
Right. Right.
that would make people want to come out
That's right.
and experience our community? Will make us enjoy our community better.
Absolutely.
And so seeing an area that's been neglected, because like you said, different things have started. They leveled the properties there before, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody was anticipating.
Mm-hmm.
Then it kind of things changed. The market changes, so
That's
we had to
exactly.
wait.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see the investment finally coming to pass, it's just outstanding.
It is, and it's a credit to I think the county government's leadership and the private
Mm-hmm.
sector looking at the opportunities that exist, and in previous administrations they had spent millions of dollars acquiring land around Homer Avenue,
Yes.
around Suitland High School, and these things take time sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is that if we have a plan, if we have a roadmap, and we stick to that, and we are unwavering
That's
in
right.
terms of our commitment to fulfilling those goals and objectives, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. It was the same thing with National Harbor. There were two developers prior to the Peterson companies that had attempted to develop National Harbor. If you remember,
Mm-hmm.
there was I think Port America was
Yes.
the name of the development,
I've been
and
hearing
that
that.
developer ended up going bankrupt because
Mm-hmm.
of just the immense cost to make the site developable. So ultimately, I think whether whether you live in southern Prince George's County,
Mm-hmm.
whether you live in central Prince George's County, or whether you live in the northern tier, there are a number of things that are going on. In the northern portion of the county, the University of Maryland College Park is just continuing to grow and
Expand,
develop. It
yeah.
is unbelievable. They recently, if I'm not sure if you've been to it, Lisa, but they have a beautiful hotel. It's called the hotel at University of Maryland.
I have
College Park.
not seen it, but you're making me want to go now.
Yes, yes. It's a beautiful hotel right off of Route 1 College Park, and it's called the Hotel at College Park. It is a 300-room hotel. They have 29 seats and several restaurants on the ground floor of the hotel that
Okay.
are really good. I've attended a couple receptions and meetings there, and it is
Okay.
just a beautiful facility. And you look all up and down Route 1, that area is changing. And
It is.
And the university has made a conscientious effort to invest in the community where they are.
And
They
that's
know
excellent.
in order to attract the best and brightest students from Prince George's County Public
That's
Schools,
right.
they gotta have amenities and things that those students are going to want to enjoy and do. And so,
That's right.
University of Maryland is definitely another great example of the great work that is going on in the county.
Excellent, excellent. Is there anything else hot on your mind that you want to share with us today?
Yeah, I would say that if you are a resident of Prince George's County, continue to stay involved in your community. Continue to be engaged in your civic association, in your house of worship.
Mm-hmm.
Please understand that it takes
That's
all
right.
of us. It takes a village
Yes.
to improve our community. And for us, now is the time. Everything that is supposed to be up is up, and everything that's supposed to be down is down. When we look at the current state of the economy, of course, the stock market is doing well, interest rates are still low, consumer confidence is high. This is the time now for you to, if you haven't purchased a home yet, please consider it. Talk to Lisa
right.
and,
Yes, call me.
and call her and get a sense of what you need to do and what the process is for you to buy a home. Home ownership is something that is, I think, very important in our community.
That's right.
It is one of the biggest assets or biggest financial decisions that you'll make in your life. And when you talk about creating generational wealth, it is a powerful tool. When I think about my family members and my friends who have moved back to Prince George's County or have stayed in Prince George's County and they purchased their first home, it warms my heart because it lets me know that they are seriously investing in the county.
In the county,
and
that's right.
And it's more than paying property taxes, but it's a sense of being in the community, having a sense of being in a neighborhood where your neighbors and everyone supports one another.
That's right.
I think the biggest thing for our community moving forward is to get back to the village mentality.
Yes.
And I would recommend a book by my president of Morehouse College when I was attending there, Dr. Robert Franklin, which is called A Crisis in the Village, by Dr. Robert Franklin. And he is a great mind in the country and academia, and especially in theology. And he talks about these issues as it relates to, back in the 50s and 60s and, during those times we stuck together. We had a village mentality. And in order for us to address some of the challenges and issues that exist in our community, we need to get back to that. And so I would highly recommend that book. And of course, I want to just give a shout out to my page, Prince George's County Real Estate Development News on Facebook. If you go into the page, go into Facebook, you can type in Prince George's County Real Estate Development News in the search tab. It'll come up. You can join as a member. We have over 6,000 members right now. We post articles, videos, important information of new developments coming to the community. We have polls. I love when people comment on the page and give me feedback. Sometimes I'm not able to answer all the questions because I am busy, but just that conversation, getting that conversation going amongst people who want to know what's going on in their neighborhood is so important. So I would say please join the page. Please continue to support the page and continue to support Lisa's show. The work that we're doing is so important, and people want to know what's going on in their community.
That's right.
People want to be involved, and it is something where the more people that we have, the more that we can accomplish.
I agree. And also, when you look at Marcus's information, when you're looking at where you want to buy, it's good to know to have a central clearinghouse, so to speak, to know what's coming up, what's coming in that area. I encourage people in real estate. We never talk about good neighborhoods and bad neighborhoods. That's not how we talk about property. Okay, but when you want to know what's going on in the community, Marcus's place is a good place to start, but it's not the only place. You can check out the plan for the city, the plan for the community. Go down and take a look. But we all want change, but we have to be a part of the change that we want. And I think there is that yearning now for that village, to be able to talk to people. And I've noticed an increase of that even in my own community with neighbors calling, hey, I don't know if are you home? No, I'm not home now. Well, I heard that there's a problem with our water. I had another friend of mine, a neighbor, saw something going on at their property, didn't have that neighbor's number, but took a positive step, action to preserve the other person's property.
That's great.
And that was just tremendous. And that neighbor then called them back to thank them, or in the process of calling back to thank them, but just to have that kind of eye towards someone else's property, someone else's livelihood, because I remember growing up, in that kind of environment, and it's good to see that coming back to the forefront of people's mentality.
Absolutely.
But before we sign off, I want to know, how did you get into commercial realty? How did you, because I see that, though, as a logical step for you,
Absolutely.
Based on both your legislative activities,
Yes.
your community outlook, even the book that you cite from your education at Morehouse, all still is in that realm of how you move. But how did that then propel you into commercial real
For
estate?
sure. So I've had a just a interesting journey in my professional career, my short professional career. When I first had moved back to Prince George's County, I knew that I had a passion for public policy in the community, and I wanted to get a sense of, you know, how the rules are made and how do you play by the rules, and how can we use legislation and good public policy to change our communities. And so I had the great opportunity to serve as the chief of staff in the Maryland General Assembly for Delegate Darren Swain, who had represented the 24th Legislative District. And we had worked on a number of issues as relates to affordable housing, criminal justice, higher education issues as it relates to our historically black colleges and universities, and just seeing how you can create change by working together with legislators from all across the state was a phenomenal experience. But it also, that experience had me deeply entrenched in the community. I would attend community meetings almost every night and hear the concerns of the community, hear what they would like to see in their community. And it was from that experience after I left Annapolis that I had joined a hospital in Baltimore, Bond Secure Baltimore Hospital.
Okay.
And this was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I was doing community organizing in West Baltimore, one of the
Wow.
toughest
Okay.
communities
Yes.
in the state as it relates, and some of the biggest issues as it relates to health disparities, crime, domestic violence. And I had worked with Bond Secure Baltimore Health System as a community engagement manager, organizing 13 fitness classes throughout West
Wow.
Baltimore,
Okay.
organizing cooking classes, smoking cessation classes, working on affordable housing issues, working on healthcare access. And when I thought about community development, it made sense to me that we could have nice buildings and new developments, but if our people aren't healthy,
That's right.
none of
None
that
that
matters,
matters.
you know. And
That's
so
right.
the issues of food deserts, which we have those similar issues in Prince George's County
That's
in
right.
terms of access to fresh fruits and vegetables, you
That's
know,
right.
those things really stuck with me. And after I had left government and working with the hospital, I had joined Harbor Bank of Maryland in Baltimore, stayed in Baltimore. I was itching to get back to Prince George's County.
Right. Right.
So 2 years ago, I decided to come back to Prince George's County, and I was focused on doing commercial real estate.
Okay.
I believe that, my purpose and the skills and talents that God has provided me was to create opportunities for others. And so
Okay.
when I thought about commercial real estate, whether you're building a shopping center, an office building, an industrial building, or you're assembling land, that creates jobs for people.
It does. Yes.
Whether it's construction jobs,
That's right.
whether it is the retail jobs, whether it is all types of direct and indirect jobs. And so that's one of the biggest things that I pride myself on. How can I help other people? How can the work that I do touch people without me being behind the scenes? And I really am just a hard worker behind the scenes. I don't need any credit for anything. I just want to see other people have the same opportunities that I've been afforded. And I really am blessed. I really believe in Prince George's County. I think that
Awesome.
we
Yes.
are we are next to Rome, in a sense.
Yes. Yes.
We are located next to the nation's capital. Which, I mean, if you look at DC and how DC has evolved and changed,
Right.
there's going to be an immense spillover effect, and we're already starting to see that right now. So I would say I wish everyone the best in 2018. If I can be a resource, I can be reached on Facebook. I can be reached via email. My email is mdaniels at naimichael.com. And I can also be reached via phone 301 918 2954 to answer any questions that you may have. I really appreciate Lisa for reaching out to me. It is, I always have prided myself on finding and connecting with like-minded people.
Yes.
And I really feel that we have the same
Yes.
passions and,
Yes.
and energy, and I'm really excited to work with you.
I'm telling you, I'm so delighted and so honored, because as you all know, we're just starting out our show, but I have a big vision for uh, how the show can be a resource to my audience. And as I stated once before, the vision is to always present you with people that can add value. The show is to be an add value to you. Whether I have a lender on talking about a program, someone talking about how to stay on your budget, talking about a success story in terms of a purchaser or a seller. It's always to add that value to you. And I was so happy that he consented to come. And like I said, I want to make Marcus a regular feature because he has such a breadth of contacts across communities and a desire to see things happen. And of course, one thing that really made my eyes light up was affordable housing.
Yes.
Because Maryland has been a laggard in terms of on a national scale in terms of affordable housing. And having worked recently with a senior friend of mine in terms of trying to find affordable senior housing,
Yes.
that's also an area where as a state and as a county in Prince George's County, we can see we need to have some growth in those areas as well. So knowing that I have you and
Absolutely.
other young, like-minded people that are equipped and empowered to help bring us the issues and even guide us in how to respond to those issues so we can see change in those areas. That's a great thing.
Absolutely.
That's a great
It
thing.
is.
Um, I also want to mention that coming up in our upcoming shows, one of our next shows is going to be about being an owner of a 4-unit building.
Good.
And the majority of our 4 units that you may surmise are usually found in DC, in the DC area. There are some in Maryland, but not as many as in DC. So on one of our upcoming shows, I think it's going to be our next show, we're going to be tackling purchasing a 4 unit, and that yes, even you can be a
Yes.
landlord, because I
That's
think
right.
sometimes
That's right.
when we look at that 4 unit, we're thinking, no, that's. I mean, I'm just trying to get qualified for this townhouse.
Right.
But trust me, if you can qualify for that townhouse, you can qualify for that 4 unit.
Absolutely.
But what are the kinds of things that you need to know when you're looking at a 4 unit? What types of things that you have to have in mind? Because you can live in your 1 unit, and then you can rent out your other 3, and that
right.
can become a source of income
Absolutely.
for you. So we have some guests that are going to be coming up. They're going to be able to talk to you about that. I may want to own a building, but maybe I don't want everybody else to know
Right.
I own the building.
That's right.
I don't
That's
want
right.
that. You in politics they talk about the phone call at 3 a.m. You don't want the 3 a.m. knock on your door saying, my toilet's backed up.
Right.
Okay. So
That
how
is
do you
funny.
get around that? But there are property management companies that are in place to where you can be the anonymous building owner, and everybody pays their rent to the property management company, sends their complaints there, and of course they get back to you. But that's a way for you to have that degree of separation. So we want to enlighten you a little bit about that information. There's some new housing grants that are coming down the line. Money that's been released this month, and so we're going to have someone come on and talk to you about that. I know I encouraged everybody last year. It's funny to say it, last year, to go ahead and get ready and get prepared for that money that was coming, to go ahead and start getting qualified. I think one of the lenders had mentioned that they would be willing to go ahead and get you qualified in anticipation
That's
of
great.
if you already met that qualification. So it's not too late. Make your mind up. I made a note of something that Marcus had said. He was talking about making a plan
That's right.
and having a roadmap. And it may not be instant, but if you go ahead and solidify in your mind, it's 2018, what your destination is going to be. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and put my house on the market.
That's right.
I know it's winter. I know it's been a little concern about, what the values are going to be, but I want to go ahead and do that because I want to then take that money and I want to do something else. Maybe you want to move up.
Right.
Maybe you're downsizing. But now's the time to do that. If you're thinking about you want to buy, It's no need to keep waiting.
That's right.
You know, maybe you can't buy it today, but I have worked with people that it took them a little over a year to get everything in line, but then we were able to go out and find them something. Maybe you were on track,
Right.
maybe there was an illness or another type of setback that kind of set you back. But go ahead and make those steps, because once you go ahead and put your plan down and have a destination in mind, now we can start filling in the rest of the people pieces. And like Robin mentioned, when we had the phone interview with her at the last show, she found that when she started moving in that direction and set her mind, the resources started showing up.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because people see you making the effort. Because people admire. Just think about the people in your circle. When you see people doing better or trying or striving for something, what do you want to do? You want to kind of give them a little helping hand. So you will find a lot of times the tools that you need aren't as far away as you think that they are.
That's right.
So, Marcus, again, I just want to thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I know this won't be our last time. I hope you all enjoyed the specific insight that he's able to give to you in terms of a couple of developments that are going on in Prince George's County. I'm telling you, he has many, many more on his group.
Oh, yeah.
Again, Prince George's County Real Estate Development News. Definitely be part of the group. Real Estate Talk with Lisa. Please sign on, like the page. You know, there are other archive videos there, and you'll definitely be able to see this one there. I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, next week, I'll see you at the show. Thank you. And he may.
Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, I'll tell you, it's just been great, and just knowing that you have your pulse on what's going on in the community, because a lot of times, you know, we're talking about fake news and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you know what's really happening. I
Mhm.
know I get, you know, something at least once a day that, you know, I have to vet before I pass it on,
That's true.
because, you know, you're not sure, you know, what's really happening. But to know that we have a reliable source of information, that is excellent. That's excellent
That's
news.
right.
And like I said, just finding out about in more depth about what's going on in Sula. Because some of the people had their hopes pinned on, you know, what was going to happen, and we're all excited. You know, got the new school.
Right.
You know, because my daughter went to Shadyside Elementary, and so when they built the new school up, we were thinking, okay, now we're gonna have all this over here.
That's right.
And so sometimes you just drive by, and you're like, you wonder what the kids
What's
are thinking,
going on?
because they got their little playground, and they're
Right.
just looking at like, just, you know, just a blank ground.
Right.
So to know that that is finally happening, and hopefully those changes will continue to flow over to Suitland High School, because Suitland High School has produced a lot of good
Unbelievable
graduates,
people. Yes.
even with maybe some of the challenges they may have had. You know, they have been producing. I love the mural
Yes.
that's on the side
That's
of the
nice.
side of the school.
Yes.
So just seeing those changes, and hopefully creating a flow between the Census Bureau
That
and the
is going to be
community.
the key.
You
I mean, I
know.
think, like you said, the number of employees in the Census Bureau, they stay in those gates, and it
That's right.
is. I think that is the biggest piece, where to make it a walkable community where people will want to leave the Census Bureau and be able to walk out and go get lunch, or go out and do shopping, or live next to the Census Bureau,
That's
nearby
right.
the metro. And so I think, you know, it's a number of things that are going to be happening on parallel tracks, whether, you know, improving the public safety,
That's right.
cleaning up the community,
Mhm.
you know, infrastructure improvements as it relates to like traffic off of Pennsylvania Avenue and Silver
Yes.
Hill Road. And so all of those things are going on now, and I think that, you know, people are already seeing some activity as it relates to those things, but as time passes on, they're going to see like, wow, this is really coming, and
It's really coming. That's
and
right.
what you know, with my page and just informing people about what's going on, I don't like when people that say, "Oh man, I wish I would have known this," or "Oh man, if I would have known,
Then I would have
I would have
decided.
did this.
That's
I
right.
wouldn't have
That's
sold
right.
my house, or I would have opened that business 5 years ago before rates went up, or I would have, you know, sent my, you know, kids here, or, you know, it's just so
Right.
many things." And so, like, I think for my goal with the page and just informing people is just continue to get as many people to sign up for the page as possible.
So they don't think so. Nothing sneaks up on you
Yeah.
like, oh, really?
Not really. And I think you know what? I think it's because like since I'm working in the industry, I mean like from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, I'm constantly consuming information about
Yes.
what's going on in
Yes.
the community, whether a property is becoming available or it's been sold, or you know, um, you know, um, you know, institutional buyers and national groups are looking to get active in Prince George's County. It's so much is going on, and you have to be able to filter that information and then be wise enough to use that information to achieve
right.
like your goals and objectives. And so for me, I've made it a purpose that you know about I would say close to 50% of my practice is working with nonprofit organizations and churches. And I really believe that particularly in our community, if you look at history, change and progress has started at the in the sanctuaries of our churches. They've started in the nonprofit organizations and the associations and groups, community groups coming together and saying, what can we do to improve our community? I think as it relates to the issues of today, that same formula
That's right.
would be a solution to the problem. And so, as it relates to access to capital in our communities, we have a number of nonprofit organizations and houses of worship that are doing very well.
Right.
And they, similar to what I was telling you about the Community Development Corporation, all they have to do is know that if they create certain vehicles like a community development corporation or a community credit union for their church, that they could provide capital and resources to the members of their church and
That's
to
right.
the community members. And so that's the whole
The
idea.
CDFI.
Yeah, so
And
that's the whole
I
thing.
remember reading about CDFI's community development financing institutions years ago, because at the time the house of worship that I was part of, we weren't federally funded. We were offering some housing. Always had that interest there, and in just in discussion with you, that's one of the things that attracted me about real estate was being able to provide housing for people.
Yes.
But then there's that underserved group of people that still need housing. And that was brought to my attention again when my friend was looking for senior housing and the dearth and the waiting list for senior housing. And looking at that and saying, wow. So, that's a key thing when you're talking about you got to make the structure so that then you can receive what's out there.
That's
make
right.
those right vehicles.
That's right.
Then, because I feel like that economic strength is going to come from within the community to impact the community. And some of the things that we feel like are problems in the community will, there's certain things you're going to always have a certain amount of. It's just nature.
That's right.
But it can be so much more diminished by the opportunities that are there.
That's true.
Because a lot of what you see is fueled by a lack of opportunity or a lack of skill at being able to take advantage of an opportunity.
That's so true. That's so true. And it's, I think I've told all of my friends in 2018, as we were wrapping up 2017, going into 2018, I told all my friends, I said, in 2018, I want you to start a business.
That's right.
And I'll help you, whether you need help writing a business plan, you need help in terms of, okay, how much money am I going to need to launch this business? What do I need to do? Create a plan to save money or work with a bank to, get the funds to be able to get the business going. And the reason for that is that our country, since its founding, has always been a country that's favored business.
That's
and
right.
favored, people wanting to be entrepreneurs and go out and create opportunities for others. And so when I think about the next 5 years, the next 10 years, I want to see more of our people owning their own businesses. I want to see more of our own people owning, like you said, these condominium buildings or these, homes that they're renting out and getting income for, because that is how we're going to create generational wealth. And
That's
I really
right.
believe that, God has just opened so many doors for me and opened my eyes that I want to be one of those people who is a cheerleader for generational wealth and economic empowerment in our community.
Right.
And we need, there are a number of people out there now, like Dr. George Frazier, who is unbelievable.
Yes, I enjoy him. I enjoy him very much.
John Hope Bryant, amongst others who have carried the torch forward to where we are now. And I think in the future, I just want to continue to be involved and create opportunity for others and provide information. So I never thought that the page would get to what the point it got. It was just something that I like. It's just something that I like to do, and I felt
but
like,
you find that there's so many other people that like it. There's so many other people that like it, and when you're looking at that, and generational wealth, you got to start. You got to start somewhere, and people in our communities have got to see us, because I look at myself as well. I've got to be an example to show that it can be done.
Absolutely.
Like they'll remember. Oh, I remember when that person. Just like when you get your car.
Yes.
Like I remember. Bill used to always be on the bus,
Right.
I'd give him a ride down to the metro. But now he saved up all his money. Now he's got a car.
That's right.
I was in the auto mechanic shop before I came here.
Right.
And I was talking with a young lady. I can't even tell you her name, but she blessed me so. She's a homeowner, and she was there with another young family member, and she was saying, I made a decision this year. I'm gonna be debt free.
Right.
She said, I've decided I want to be debt free. I'm taking care of my credit cards. I don't want to have to pay for anything that I don't need. I'm not funding. She said, because when I go on a trip, I want to be able to pay for my trip. I don't want to finance my trip. She said, and we were talking about how we grew up, and she would say, when I grew up, you would finance certain things.
Right.
And and a lot of them were necessities. She said, but I realized that was not the wrong way.
Right.
I mean, the right way to do it. That I needed to be able to pay for those things, so that when I get my paycheck, I'm not looking at all the different things that I got to pay out now.
Right.
That I'm never going to pay off because I'm only paying the minimum payment.
That's true.
And so that change of thought, that was so encouraging, because I was on my way here where we're talking about those same things. So all of us have our expectations for this year. So just keep in mind what your plan is, and let's work our plans. All right? I'll see you next week. Thank you.